it's a classic moment of someone's definitely been in there and pretty much every cable is unplugged that there is no telling what was missing from the display. So obviously the main video slash MagSafe cable was missing, but I went digging and what I found was basically that this thing could be divided into several sections. There was the power supply, which seemed okay as far as I could make out. Then there were the speakers, 3 of them. One was, I think, the bass module. And then the main logic board, which included the video, audio control portion, as well as that USB firewire hub. And while investigating this, I concluded that the majority of the components were indeed present, except that main video MagSafe cable and, unfortunately, the freaking LCD cable. Really important.
I want to build something iconic. Anyone who's ever commented anything iconic is having some question of this.
So, there are a couple of things missing. The one we already knew about is they can actually plug it into this audio board here. It's not soldered down. I guess that would actually plug in here where the power supply is, and that would provide for MagSafe. But if you got an extra little cable like this, plug it in here. But there's not much point in doing that since there's also missing the LCD cable going from the actual panel to our board here. So yeah, if I were to test this thing, I would have to find a replacement LCD cable. Went up the ports again, I had a look on eBay, since the chances of finding this were so freaking nil. And yeah, like the shipping and export duties, this thing would have ended up costing more than I paid for the monitor itself. Classic. I really didn't feel like spending another $30 on something that I wasn't really sure was working. And even if a new LCD cable fixed it, I mean, I would have been left with the Thunderbolt compatible monitor for which I really have no use. I was kind of sitting there miserable, thinking about how this whole thing was just a giant waste of time and money. And looking around for that freaking LCD cable, I came across something else. I didn't mention this previously, but that 27-inch LCD used in this Apple display, yeah, it's not made by Apple at all. It's a Samsung part. And if you think that all the chips and components in Apple's notebooks and phones are made by Apple, yeah, think again. Anyways, I thought perhaps I could cross-reference the LCD part number instead and find the compatible LCD cable on like AliExpress. While I didn't find that, I found something even better. And yeah, this is a very inexpensive controller board kit for, yeah, this exact panel. And it comes with basically everything you need to get this panel going, including inputs for regular 12-volt external power supply, and get this regular HDMI and VGA video inputs. Now that's what I could actually freaking use. So I took another look at that LCD and it really didn't look damaged at all. But again, I couldn't really...
Guys, all lobbies, please cough drop. I don't know why we're having to continuously say this. If you don't have your radios on, that's an issue.
Came in and it was time to get back to this project and see if I wasted my time and money for nothing. I disassembled this thing once again and I have hooked up all the necessary cables. That LCD cable, backlight,
Yeah, man, you feel bad.
Finally test this thing out and see what happens. I have hooked up my external power supply and gave it around 12 volts. And I'm powering on the display and hooking up my video signal. I could indeed see that the monitor was turning on since I could see the backlight LEDs coming on. And I could see that my Mac was detecting that it was hooked up to an external display. However, there was nothing on the screen. It was black. Oh, great, given that the backlight was working. And so it seemed that this monitor really was of no use. It was sad, but not unexpected. I mean, it came from someone who clearly just discarded it after using it for parts or being unable to fix it. I don't really know. But as I was sitting there disappointed, I figured I could try hooking up one thing I forgot, and that was the grounding cable from the LCD itself. So I did that along with reseating some of the connections, and I kid you not, I damn near crapped my pants. Oh god. really a glorious moment. Not only was this thing working, but the LCD itself was in great shape. I mean, no lines, no artifacts. It really was of great quality. So at this point, I was ready to wrap this thing up, and that's what I was going to have to do. Things first. I'd have to remove all the unnecessary crap from the housing, and I wouldn't need the internal power supply anymore, nor the main logic board, and honestly, I don't know if any of these things were the culprit in this thing being discarded, but I don't really care. The speakers actually left those in, since I'm planning on perhaps wiring them. The description of the listing actually mentioned the speakers you can get separately, although the listing for those was not available anymore. However, I thought about ways I could perhaps wire the existing speakers, even though they have a different connector, but that'll have to wait for another day. After getting all the necessary components out, it was time to see where this thing would mount. And I have actually seen some other projects of people doing a similar thing, and they'd glue this thing in the inside and then run the cables out the back or something. But I didn't really like that idea, and I wanted to mount this thing to existing standoffs. And I have indeed found what looked to be a perfect spot in the bottom. The screw holes matched exactly, and I could cut a slot in the bottom where the aluminum was perforated and would be easy to cut and would leave a nicer coat probably. So I set about doing just that, and instead of a cut-off disc, I chose to use this little metal hand slotting out because it would give me more control and a nicer cut in the end. And with this being aluminum, which had holes already in it, yeah, it really wasn't too hard to cut through, and I presented the piecing a couple of times until it eventually broke, since aluminum really is quite brittle. After cleaning everything up and removing sharp corners with some sandpaper, I blew out the dust from it and proceeded to mount the board using existing screws. I was very happy with how this went, so I proceeded to mount the control bracket with the buttons. I just installed it beside the main board using aluminum to screw it down using some very small nuts and bolts. After that, it was time to reattach the LCD and close the other hardware and to see if I broke anything in the process. I was very glad that it all still worked fine.
Mobile is red, but the back end is green, and no one knows why. Embrace unites your teams with real user insights. What's up with the mobile app? For many engineering teams, this is a joy.
However, upon laying that LCD in place, I could see that it was getting that board unfortunately, so it wouldn't lay flat. I took a knife and cut off a corner of the audio jack, which made it sit a bit flusher, but there was still a gap at the bottom of the monitor. However, at the top, yeah, the holes matched perfectly, so I decided for now that I would just try it out like this and see if it would work, and sure enough, after installing all the screws, I put the monitor in the upright position, and glorious, really. It went from being by far the stupidest monitor I've ever seen to being actually usable, and I just love doing this, taking expensive Apple gear and hacking it up in horrible ways to make it fit my needs, and I'm sure Steve Jobs is rolling around in his grave watching this abomination with the freaking VGA port sticking out his butt, along with those buttons and that half-inch gap at the bottom. And yeah, even though it's not the most elegant, I mean it works fine, and I do intend to get back to it, not only to perhaps find a way to have it close completely, but also to maybe get those speakers wired in, since they do feel like decent speakers, and it'd be nice to have the feature at least. Still, the board has audio out, so I can hook it up to external speakers at least if I need some for some reason. Also, I wanted to see how the glass sounds, and I mean it looks pretty sweet. And I do think it looks far better than some other ones I've seen with the wires sticking out.
It's full. Yeah, it's full.
It's just on a slight angle, so there's no real danger of the glass breaking or cracking. And the only real question I'm left with is, why was this thing discarded, since it had a perfectly working LCD panel? Well, the best guess I have is that one of the components inside went bad, perhaps the power supply or the main board, and since this model of display is more than a decade old at this point.
Alright, all trucks are loaded. Let's all drive in a convoy and as proficient as possible. We are not going to follow the off-roads, we are just following the road like everyone else.
Watch the truck, guys.
Pause the truck. Pause the convoy, guys.
We are gonna stand at the side until everyone is in.
Okay, keep going, keep going. Keep going.
Convoy rolling out. Convoy is taking a left. And then another left to the highway.
Remember not to overtake each other. So,
Got the Empire City, made by one dude. Hope you enjoy. Game features scientifically accurate waterproof effects. Fucking solid. The reviews are exactly what I expected. It is time. It is not time. Why does this game need access to the internet? You know what? Sure, go ahead. It seems like the game has crashed as I gave it access to the firewall. Let's restart the game. Is it
convoy stop, convoy stop.
FIB is gone.
Yeah, we have families robbing FIB, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw 3 cars heading towards it, and there are 2
all the FIB HQ.
and 4. Just keep going. There are 2 more at the DOC highway standing at the side. 2 more cars with the 2 people in.
They're just like secret hiding from people. Like, yo, let me make a video game or something. Ain't not so cute before in your life. But forget the cute before. You have $300 in crypto. Do you want the big life anyways? Secret likes and tick number 1. For your life. Secret likes and tick number 2. Buy many cryptos. Objective and open your phone and text password. I have completed 95% of the game. Voting included. It's entirely AI generated.
Remember to outside the circle.
These people need to learn how to drive on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, Simon, they have made me roll over to the other side.
He decided to strike me that one.
You ready for a brake check?
Oh shit. few stuff going on with my van at the moment. I got it.
Smooth. Do you have your radio on?
Yeah, we don't supposed to be driving the trucks in already.
It's okay.
Yeah, I will make picture. Righty, I have took a picture.